Classroom series. I would like to introduce Mr. Basant Krishna Tripathi, sir, Director HR, Global HR Business Partner, Aviva, Cambridge, United Kingdom. He is responsible for identifying, prioritizing, and building organizational capabilities, behaviors, structures, and processes aligning with business strategy. He is a BHU alumni and has served in different HR roles and is an experienced professional. Today, he will be enriching us on the topic business sustainability. Let us have a micro look at insight shared by Sir. We would love to hear from you, sir.
Thank you, Nikhil. So, Sandeep, can I start now? Nikhil, can I start now?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Perfect. So, first of all, Nikhil, thank you so much for nice introduction and, of course, very kind words. And frankly, telling, as you said, I'm a BHU alumni, and going back to your alma mater is always a very emotional moment. And it is little emotional moment for me, as you can make out, because that makes you nostalgic. And I was talking to Sandeep before I started this presentation, and we were remembering some hostel days. So because I feel more connected with my roots, so it absolutely it's my privilege to interact with you all and being there with you right now. I shall try to share as much as possible from my side, but that's not the end of the day. Now you know me, and during the maybe next 45 minutes, we will have a little more interaction. So I would request you to stay connected and feel free to reach out to me for any support I may extend to you or otherwise. So thank you again, Nikhil and Sandeep. Thank you so much for extending this opportunity to interact with you and the students here. So let's go back on our topic. So as you know, our topic is business sustainability, and so this topic is not just a topic to me. It is very close to my heart, and it has nothing to do with academics or just knowing about something or maybe learning something. This topic has impacted me positively, personally, and I feel excited to talk more and more about it, which I will share during this next 45 minutes or so. Today, I shall be talking about business sustainability. In order to understand the concept, I shall try to explain that what is sustainability? I mean, what is this word all about? And why sustainability? I mean, fine, sustainability is there, but why it is there? I mean, what is the relevance? I will also touch upon business and with reference to what is sustainable business, and it's not only sustainable business, but I also would try to give you perspective of business sustainability. And there is a slight difference between sustainable business and business sustainability. And this talk cannot be complete without me highlighting your role into overall process. So that will be the flow of the session today. And Nikhil, Sandeep, please stop me if my voice is not clear or my presentation is not visible. And I'm starting the session right now. Now, sustainability. I'm sure you would have heard about this word, and I was going through Sandeep's Facebook wall, and I saw one presentation, maybe most of you or some of you would have attended on CSR. You would have heard about this word, and moreover, as part of your curriculum also, you would have heard about sustainability. So I would like to ask a question before I get into a little more detail. I'm more interested to know that what is the first thing which comes into your mind when you hear the word sustainability. Maybe one or two responses will help me to set the context. Anyone, just 3-4 points. Only one word. What exactly comes into your mind?
Continuity, sir.
Continuity. Excellent.
Yes.
Continuity. Very good input. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. This is Prince.
Yeah.
Sustainability for me, sir, means moving forward or developing yourself or the organization without harming the surrounding around you.
Wow. Fantastic. Absolutely. Surrounding around you. Okay. Very good. This is very important. Yeah. 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 Any one more response? One more response. I'm looking
So,
for.
social, financial, environment responsibility, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think I'm so happy. So that gives me an idea that you all are well versed with and understood the basic essence of this word sustainability. So let me just say that there is no universally agreed definition of sustainability. In fact, there are many different viewpoints on this concept and how it can be achieved. Let's understand this word in little more details in next slide. But before I talk about more on definition or the concept of sustainability, let me ask you a question. How many of you have thought about this word in your day-to-day life? Remember, day-to-day life. And what does it mean to you in your daily life? I heard these responses, very pertinent replies, very relevant replies, all were correct. But once we talk about day-to-day life, anything which is the first thing which comes into your mind. Like, have you thought about this word in your day-to-day life? What sustainability mean to your day-to-day life, your personal day-to-day life?
Sir, I
So
can.
any initial investment we make, we expect a return on that investment. So return on investment may be associated with sustainability goals.
Return of statement, ROI, okay? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sir, if we talk about sustainability in practical life, so we do it every day. Suppose take an example of studies. Just take it as
Yeah.
means while studying, we don't put things which we do in everyday life. We don't put it to hold. So that things also move on along with the studies. So this is a kind of a sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree to you. And let me share, and I still remember, because especially in India, though in other culture also, but especially in India, it is way of life. So sustainability is nothing a buzzword. If you remember, at least I still remember every morning when, and I spent my childhood in a very small town. I don't know if you know this town, Gonda. So I was born in Gonda in Uttar Pradesh, and I spent my basic till fourth I was there in Gonda, and I still remember every morning this fakir used to come to home collect atta, and how can I forget every day when Amma used to make rotis and she used to give 2 rotis to me every day to give it to cow. So this is something which we follow almost every household in India, some way or other. So nonetheless, let me tell you why I share this story. So nonetheless, coming back on the topic, have you thought about supply chain of products? How was it made? What kind of resources have been used? Who were involved? What is their condition? How has it reached to you? What part of payment reaches to the end element involved in supply chain, or say various elements involved in supply chain? Think about it. Just for an example, say you must be wearing jeans or maybe shirt or maybe whatever, clothes. Now think about that cloth. Have you thought about that cloth? That how was it made? What kind of process was it gone through? Who all were involved in the supply chain? So it requires a lot of contemplation, but park this for a few minutes to get the answers later. Meanwhile, let me share my story, very small story. So I live in Cambridge, and there is a shopping center in Cambridge. We call it Grafton Center. So charity, as I said, that India, it is way of life. Likewise, in Western world also, charity is something which is everybody follows. So they try to donate money. And there are a lot of charity shops. So charity shops are basically, they are selling second-hand products, especially clothes or maybe some other articles. So they basically second-hand shops, charity shops. And I used to go with my family. I used to look at the charity shops and I used to just cross. I mean, I never bothered to notice those shops. Then I did my course from Cambridge University on sustainability management. And believe me, it was not a course. It was an experience altogether that has changed me completely as an individual. It has changed my perspective. It has changed, it was complete paradigm shift. The way I used to look towards those charity shops earlier, and after the course, whenever I used to look those charity shops, it was entirely different. So that's the power of this word once you get into a little more deep and understand in totality more about sustainability. And that's what I was just trying to highlight here. And impact was, and I'm sharing my personal thing once, and so that course was a good experience. I mean, it was an experience itself. So every week I used to share with my wife and my son, and we all were so influenced that we have taken a pledge that for 6 months or so, we will not buy any new clothes. We will go for, if at all it is required, we'll try to go for second-hand clothes. And in India, if I say buying second-hand, it is being seen as if, oh, this guy is buying something second-hand. So, so let's park it. But I wanted to, share these things to invoke some thoughts. While you are mulling over it, let me go to next presentation, next slide. Now, coming back on the word sustainability, and I will refer the Wikipedia, it says sustainability is the ability to exist constantly. Exactly, you were saying once I asked that what exactly you understand, and I think one of you have exactly replied the same. So it is the ability to exist constantly. And please, I want to emphasize, and that's why I kept these two words in bold, and I want you to just remember these two words. They are the key words. And in the 21st century, it refers generally to the capacity of the biosphere and human civilization to coexist. And this is all you have answered. It is also defined as the process of people maintaining change in homeostasis-based environment, balanced environment in which the exploitation of resources, the direction of investments, the orientation of technological development, and institutional change are all in harmony. Again, a key word, harmony, all in harmony. And I will be emphasizing on this word again in my next slide. So remember this word, to coexist constantly, harmony, and enhance both current and future potential to meet human needs and aspiration. And I'm so glad to hear that you exactly have tried to say it in different words, but you meant exactly what you can see on your screen. But before we focus more on the definition, let's understand the background. As it says, future is hidden in past. So to know the future, it is important that we should know the past. And I'm sure you would heard this word. You would have heard this word many a times, especially in a corporate world, because this is the word and at most focus area these days. And I've already shared with you that you've gone through CSR, so I'll not dwell much on that. Let's see why this idea of sustainability becomes so important in recent years. If I think from a layman standpoint, then one reason may be because it sounds more powerful. Rhetorically, than an idea which as being environmental friendly. Not caring about environment has a, it's a long history, long history. And I'm sure each one of you would have experienced individually, and it is still regarded as acceptable in some circles. Just to give you an example, you think about our own example, you think about your own societies, especially in India. When they are making houses or societies or layouts, they will remove and cut the trees, fill the water bodies to claim the land. A common mentality is that suppose you have got a tree in your angan or maybe somewhere else, and you want to extend your house, then you will try to cut that tree, thinking that, oh, this tree is a wastage, I'll get 2 feet more. Rather than thinking about the advantages of having the tree, water body, or such kind of resources. But publicly saying that you do not care about what you are doing is unsustainable sounds tantamount to admitting that you are intellectually, incoherent. But that cannot be the entire explanation, though. After all, I'll take you a little more background, since you all are students, and I'm sure you would be interested to know that the term sustainability was hardly heard until the late 1980s. I never heard it earlier. And 20 years after the contemporary environmental movement get going. Now, little more background. The concept of sustainability is something like it's in modern form was first used by the World Council of Churches in 1974. It was proposed by the Western environmentalists in response to developing world objection to worrying about environment that human beings in many parts of the world suffer from poverty and deprivation. And I'm sure you would have read the history. The concept of sustainable development was put forward by International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources in 1980. So these facts and figures and these names, not necessarily you remember, but I try to highlight this from academic, since you all are students, that's why I'm highlighting from your academic knowledge. And with this, let me take you to the next. So because now you have a little idea on the word sustainability, and I have very interesting 4-minute video, but I will not be sharing and playing here, but I would like to share the link and I'll request you to go through it. Now, going a little back on history, because it's very, very important for all of you to understand this background and history. Let's understand that we have seen almost 250 years of progress now. I mean, once, you know, the new thing has started, technology started, advancement started from the beginning of Industrial Revolution. Just over 250 years ago, the world has undergone profound economic and technological developments that have altered the very structure of business, politics, and society. From innovation in agriculture, mass production, fossil fuel usage, and infrastructure. Everybody is busy in exploiting nature. Everybody is extracting oil. Everybody is, you know, all those things, whatever they can get from nature, they are just exploiting. Because they need infrastructure. They need to transport, communication, global connectivity, how people and conduct business, how people live and conduct business is something a subsistence farmer in around 18s could have never imagined. These radical development led to a significant increase in the global population. As you know, innovations in food production, medicines, sanitation meant that more people could be healthy and productive for a longer period of time. Additionally, with the development of industrial capitalism and globalization, national governments, particularly those in the Western world, have played less of a environment role in Western economy. Now, what was the impact? Impact was resulting into an economic system premised on consumption rather than supply driven. All consumption, consume. Because consumers were increasing, their power was increasing, technology was advancing, nobody bothered about it. So it was demand-driven economy. It was not a supply-driven. It was demand-driven economy. I mean, more demand. And of course, the more the demand, exploitation is more. So over this period, a relatively wealthy new middle class emerged, able to obtain their wealth from commerce and trade, as opposed to kind of societal status leading to better living standard for majority of the individual. If you remember, I mean, I'm sure you'd have seen, at least my generation and my previous generation has experienced it. Items those were previously considered very luxurious or reserved for a privileged few become commonplace. I mean, I still remember in 97, once I started my career in the telecom sector, mobile phone, I mean, it was a luxury. It was a luxury. Now it is a necessity, and it is now everybody is carrying 2-3 mobiles. So that's the change. And billions of consumers across the globe are now able to live comfortably and purchase a large variety of consumer goods. So this video is of Hans Rosling, and he is taking an augmented reality animation journey. So I'll share the link with Sandeep, and I'm sure you have a collaboration page wherein like he can post it, and request you to go through it. It is beautifully presents whatever I said in last 200 years, talking about prosperity of population size and prosperity of nations across the globe over 200 years. Now, taking you through further and giving you a little more background. So you remember the dictionary meaning of sustainability, which I have shared? And I asked you to, and I emphasized on the word harmony. Now, this harmony is all about people and planet. And this has never been so important, Now, but before we get into importance, let's understand why people-planet harmony is more important than ever to get profit, or so to say, for business than earlier. And again, I'll quote that in 2009, Sir John Beddington, a chief scientific advisor to UK government, gave a warning speech as at one of the conferences and highlighting the imminent risk to society from what he referred as a perfect storm. I think it's very, very important concept for you to understand, and to understand that where exactly we are sitting and why it requires, attention and action from all of us. So he described a trio of dangerous pressures from the growing demand for good water and energy that will be placed on these finite resources. Always remember, these resources are limited. And water is something which you must be experiencing in Banaras or wherever you are living. I mean, I remember my childhood, I remember today's days, there is a huge change. So these are the finite resources, and these catalyzed by a number of key factors such as climate change, rapid urbanization, increased wealth, and an increased reliance on biofuel. He explained that by 2030, global population will increase by 33%. So this is, he said in 29, it's already 7 billion. So you can understand we are close to 8 billion, not far from 8 billion. And demand for food will increase by 50%. Just imagine. Demand for energy will increase by 30%, and demand for water will increase by 30%. Now, what makes this perfect storm is the fact that by 2030, and that's very important for all of us to understand, that by 2030, all these factors are set to come together at the same time. And that will pose a big question to all of us. Does humanity have what it takes to cope with these challenges? Can we adequately prepare for them in less than 15 years? And what makes the perfect storm scenario even more challenging is that the increasing demand for water, food, and energy, and these are not academic words I'm using, you can experience it. Think about your day-to-day life. You are facing these challenges in day-to-day life. Water, quality of food, quality of water, availability of water, 24/7 availability of water, food supply chain. You go and buy a apple and it's completely waxed. You don't know whether it's hygienic or not. So increasing demand of water, food, and energy can be dealt with as separate issue because changes to the one influences the other. If there is a change in the water, it will impact energy. If there is impact on energy, it will impact food. So it's all are, interrelated. And that's a very, very important point for all of us to understand. Now, we understood, and please stop me wherever you want to. I'm just going with the flow. So now we understood the challenges in form of perfect storm, and also understood that what pressure it is creating on business ecosystem. As you read or watch the daily news, and that's what I was trying to highlight, you're likely to hear stories about drought, flood, crop failure in one region, and disease outbreak and record high temperature in another. I was just going through one of the site a few days back, and there was a interesting story. So this Iceland, I mean, they have melting glaciers, and they were doing funeral of one of the glacier which they had, and it got melted. So this is really dangerous situation, and we all have to realize this. And you would have heard about stories of a species of bird or a particular animal being harmed by pollution. I mean, fishes, oil spills. These are day-to-day stories and news items. It is something which is not there in the books. It is, you can see in and around you. And species are becoming extinct, or entire bodies of water area, land no longer being able to sustain plant or animal life. Banjar, we call it banjar. Earlier, those were fertile, that has become banjar. This is the reality of 21st century. An age in which human activity, primarily driven by industrial growth, had drastically altered the habitat and natural regularity processes that humanity depends on for survival. That's a very, very worrisome situation. I don't want to make you stressful, but that's the reality, and it is important that we understand the reality. This is why. This is because the contribution of human activity to the degradation of ecosystem and biodiversity loss. It is we. Nobody else does that. It is we. We are responsible, largely due to the dominance economic model, because supply, lot of demand. So largely due to dominance economic model that favors certain type of capital and excludes other. Now, as we now understand that harmony is key word, which I was emphasizing earlier, to understand the sustainability, and you also have answered when I asked that, what do you mean? You said exactly the same. And to create that harmony, it is need for business to invest in value, not only land, labor, or financial capital. Because if you remember, typical economic processes or typical businesses, they only focus on land, labor, and finance. That's it. But to recognize the need to invest in long-term growth through building up and conserving natural and social capital stocks too, they have to focus on that. Otherwise, they cannot sustain. We cannot sustain. I still remember, if you remember NCERT books, there is a Gandhian talisman there. And it says that if you have to see the word, you have to, see a word from a different perspective. You have to go out of your, it says that that you move from your location and see from a, little wider view, then you understand what is there. And that's why it focuses on totality.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So two of the greatest sustainable challenges that humanity currently faces is climate change and the degradation of ecosystem and biodiversity loss. Let's see, how can we understand this in further details to think about sustainable business? So now I'm going on to sustainable business. Now you understood why. You also understood what sustainability means. You also understood why it is really, really required. So let me go through sustainable business. Okay, perfect. So now coming on to sustainable business, now you understand the background, have understanding of word sustainability, history also you heard, and maybe understanding of this, very important to understand that what is this sustainable business. But before we go on sustainable business, let's try to understand how business and sustainability interrelated. Again, but before I go into interrelation, I ask anything further, let me check how many of you are awake. So I have a quick and very simple question for you. What is business? Again, maybe one or two words. What is business in your idea?
For exchange of goods and services in the market.
Okay, very good. Very good. Any other? One word if somebody wants. So I still remember.
Transaction.
Yeah.
So one word that may be transaction.
Transaction. Okay, so मैं हिंदी में बताता हूँ. So what happened that I still remember in Jamnagar, one of very senior aged, he was responsible for our unit. So he came and we all were young boys, and he asked, "What is business? What is business?" And likewise, we were, kind of transactional, this and that. And he said in Hindi, he said, "Business, paisa kahan se aata hai? That's important. That is all about business." So, but just on a lighter side, I've shared. But as Cambridge Dictionary says, business is, as rightly been answered, the activity of buying and selling goods and services. Now, see this. Business, it says, activity of buying and selling goods and services. But very question remains unanswered. Why? It's only to earn money, which you try to answer here. But as you know, business is not all about making money. It is not one-time show. And it is not only making money, rather, gaining profit and regularly growing that profit or maintaining that profit. Now, next question, can you make that profit if our earth is in danger, if the environment is in danger where we live? It is like that. How can we save for long if our house is damaged, our roof is leaking, our neighborhood is suffering? Or can you run a business where you do not have people to work for you? or do you do not have people to consume what you produce? अरे खरीदने वाला भी तो चाहिए if you are selling something. You need a consumer, you need a society, you need a balanced society, and not only खरीदने वाले के पास पैसे भी होने चाहिए. So it's all interrelated, and people miss this basic understanding that it is all interrelated. If you think in isolation, you will perish. You cannot sustain for long. That's not a sustainable business, and that's the key for you to understand. Therefore, it is important to make profit, that to regular profit. It's not a one-time game. आपने शॉप खोली, आप सेल कर रहे हो, आप प्रॉफिट बना रहे हो, बट ऐसा नहीं कि एक दिन प्रॉफिट बनाया बात खत्म. You should get a regular profit. So do a business. There has to be perfect harmony. Going back on the same sustainability definition, if you remember. So this harmony should be there in between profit, people, and planet. I request all of you as a student of IR and personal management, you remember this, and this is all about sustainability. Profit, people, and planet. I think in one of the CSR session, Madam has touched upon this topic, but I'll take you in little more detail. And with this, let me take you to the next slide. So it says that a business that strives to meet the triple bottom line. But before I talk little more about triple bottom line, so you understood sustainable business. Now I'm trying to bring sustainability, business sustainability topic. So I'm trying to introduce that topic. So what sustainability mean in business? Business you understood, you also understood the challenges. What this sustainability mean in a business? So sustainability in business generally addresses two main categories. The effect business has on the environment and effect business has on society. So if your business is not impacting positively on environment or society, it cannot be sustainable business. And that's why it says triple bottom line. The goal of sustainable business strategy is to make a positive impact on either one of those areas when company fail to assume responsibility. That's what I'm trying to highlight. They don't realize what is they're responsible for. The opposite can happen, leading issues like environmental degradation, inequality, and social injustice. Let me introduce this concept of triple bottom line. Recently in one of the conference, or I'm just missing the name, in one of the business association conference, recently our respected Prime Minister Modi also emphasized on that. And he has beautifully explained that. If you get to see that video, you must see. So he has talked about this triple bottom line. And this sustainable business has expanded to become a more holistic view of business activity. Reporting on impacts on people, planet, and profit. And this, as I told you, triple bottom line. It's a very important concept. And that is the essence of whole sustainability and sustainable business. Now, let's understand what is this triple bottom line. But how does a business measure whether it is a sustainable business? That's fine. I say sustainable business, business sustainability, but how you measure? So this triple bottom line is the way you measure it. So it says that triple bottom line was coined by a person called John Elkington in 1994. So once I was there in BHU, this is the same year. And basically mean that a sustainable business not only looks to have a healthy economic bottom line, but also healthy social and environmental bottom lines. This is also known as people, planet, and profit, as I'm trying to highlight here. Historically, earlier business, you think from what to go earlier, people still have the same mindset. So they only measure their value through their economic bottom line. How much profit they are, what is the group profit, what is the revenue, which includes mainly sales, how much sales they have got, how many profits, how much tax I have paid, what are the monetary things, how many jobs we have created in terms of money. But how do you measure social and environmental bottom lines? So social bottom lines can be measured by things like you all are students of IR, so you can understand so well. Who else can understand better than you? Labor practices, human rights, product responsibility, and community impact. So you understand this so well. A good illustration of measuring a social bottom line related to these areas which I tried to highlight. Like, just to give an example, there are several organizations. I'm just taking just one example. You can Google it. Like, there is an organization known as REI. They are offering products that are fair trade certified. Means they ensure that this is being fair trade. So social bottom line can also be measured by community impact, such as number of volunteer hours an organization donate and the total financial contribution made to nonprofit. Just for an instance, if you go on my LinkedIn page, you will see I keep on posting a lot about action for good for my company. Because before getting into global HR business partner profile, I was the global head for talent acquisition and engagement. And engagement part of my responsibilities include creating so I have created, that's my brainchild. I've created the whole framework for my company, CSR framework, diversity, inclusion, early career. So this is every organization is doing. So we also have committed 1% of net profit for sustainability related initiatives. We also set a 1-day leave for our employees so that they can volunteer for whatever work they want or whatever they feel passionate about the society. So, and this is not unique. Now companies are doing it, which is a very good sign. Like, there is a company known as Flood Tide Company. That's a member of 1% for the planet and donate 1% of sales to their local nonprofit partner. This is good for society and for the business. And the environmental bottom line is basically company's environmental footprint, and typically is measured as greenhouse gases. So you all would have heard about it. Emissions, energy, waste, water usage. For example, there are a number of companies like, especially, I'm really impressed the way Unilever is doing. They are amazing. They are the market leaders. You study about Unilever. You study about their sustainability initiative. Schneider Electric, my own company. They are the market leader in terms of sustainability around energy. Vodafone, Nike has done phenomenal job. So they have committed to 100% renewable energy. They want to go for carbon neutral kind of energy source, green energy that contributes to climate. And not only it reduces that, it also reduces operational cost. So ultimately, it is gain to the business. But people are not thinking from that perspective, and that's the challenge we are facing at this point in time. There are also companies working towards improving water efficiency in manufacturing operations, how they can minimize the water usage, how they can optimally use the water, and zero waste to landfill. The jeans which we wear, frankly telling, I got a little emotional once I was going through that course, and once I read more about how these jeans are being made. It's a huge water usage, huge chemical usage. And not only that, once you discard jeans, it goes for a landfill. And that's a very detrimental to our environment. And such kind of practices is a zero waste to landfill, which are both better for the environment and the economic bottom line. So I try to cover this concept of triple bottom line, and please remember that that's the takeaway for my session. And I'll quickly take you through 1-minute video, very small video, just to ensure that you understood this concept very well, because it will help you to understand. Let me just play this video for you.
We're proud to donate 3% of our annual sales to our nonprofit conservation partners.
The voice is not coming through.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. All the way I was thinking that you can hear that. Yeah. Okay. No problem. I think maybe these links, Sandeep, I'll send it across to you. I wish this would have been played, but I don't want to play with technology again.
Message is clear. Message which we got through the text is clear.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, it's very important that environmental and social bottom lines to have more understanding the concept and practicality, and that's why this video is very important. And there are several such videos on YouTube. So I'll request you to go through that, how businesses have introduced triple bottom line for their businesses to make make that business more sustainable and focus on business sustainability. That will help you to understand this topic very well. Now, next is, this is also very important, and I request you to again focus here. I'm sorry if it is getting too much, but as I told you, this topic is very close to my heart, and I can talk on this topic for hours. And this concept which I'm trying to introduce here, that is again a key concept for anyone to understand sustainable business. So, as you heard me, that traditional business theory proposed that, you remember we talked about land, labor. So commercial activity productivity based on how efficiently you utilize land, labor, and capital. So it's all about, land, जमीन होनी चाहिए धंधा शुरू करने के लिए, लेबर होना चाहिए उसमें काम करने के लिए, और पैसा लगाना चाहिए उसमें इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए. That was the initial three variables. That's always been thought. It is widely accepted that efficient management of these three variables ensures profitability and continued business growth. There is no doubt, and that's how people have thrived, only focusing on these three elements. But what this model does not take into account, however, is the dependency of commercial enterprise on the natural environment for their land and raw material, and on the structure in society that provided another key component of production, labor. You remember the same example which I told you, that I've opened the shop, but I don't have consumer. I produce the product, but I don't have market to sell that product. I have set up a factory, but I don't have a raw material to produce that product. So it's all interdependent. So this narrow view of capital often results into misuse of natural resources, and that's the biggest challenge. And it's disregard for important stakeholder with the broader community. Let me introduce this 5 capital model that refers the natural capital. So if you see these icons in your presentation, so what is natural capital? You can understand very well. So all natural assets, geology, soil, air, water, and all living things. Then comes human capital, and who best can understand than you, which encompasses more than just a physical presence of employee. Earlier, time in, time out, but no more this. They also focus on health, knowledge, skill, and abilities. And trust me, you all will be placed somewhere or other, and that will be your primary job. That how you can focus and utilize human capital to its best to increase productivity and create better societies, of course. So, and other factors like motivation to work, relationship, how we build our relationship, and intellectual capacity and output of the employee. And not to forget intangible aspects such as your mental well-being, empathy, enjoyment, and passion. So there are various elements of this human capital, and you are the expert, so I'm not getting into that detail. Next capital, which is third one, is social capital. What is social capital? Values, trust, communication. We talk to each other. We talk to our neighbors. We talk in the trains. We talk anywhere else. That relationship. How we cooperate. How we help other person to climb on the train. How we help other person to support in whatever way. And that's the human society. We live in a society, so it's a cooperation, social and socio-political ecosystem. So this is all about social capital. Now, next is manufactured capital, infrastructure and tangible goods, which is very simple. Financial capital, we talked much on this financial capital. It's all about money. So without focusing on these 5 capitals, we cannot achieve triple bottom line, or our business cannot be sustainable. So always remember, that's a very important thing to understand. Now you understood sustainability, sustainable business sustainability. I also would like to touch upon very quickly on the business case of sustainability. That what is the advantage you get out of it? Because it clearly results in positive impact on business performance. Define in like, first, at minimum, we do not harm people or the planet, and at best create value for stakeholders. Second, you have answered this. Focus on improving environmental, social, and governance. Somebody said ESG, environmental, social, and governance performance, in the areas which the company or brand has a material environmental and social impact, like oil and gas industry, or their operations or value chain or supply chain or from customer standpoint. First is advantage is driving competitive advantage through stakeholder engagement. Traditional business model aims to create value for stakeholders, but often at the expense of other stakeholders. And sustainable businesses are redefining the corporate ecosystem by designing models that create value for all stakeholders. वो बोलते हैं ना सबका भला, including employee, shareholder, supply chain, civil society, and of course, our planet. Much of the strategic value of sustainability comes from the need to continually talk and learn from key stakeholders. We have to integrate, we have to learn, we have to keep on talking to each other, to understand each other's requirements. How? Through regular dialogue and a stakeholder engagement. A company having a sustainability agenda is better positioned to anticipate and react to economic, social, environmental, and regulatory changes as they arise. If you are least bothered about it, you will not be knowing, and then that's a big risk. And that's why I say that competitive advantage, you can take advantage. You can also improve risk. How you can improve risk management? Supply chains today extend around the world and are vulnerable to natural disaster and civil conflict. Of course, we are facing right now. We are currently in the same situation: climate change, water scarcity, and poor labor condition in much of the world increases the risk. I would like to quote a report. It's a McKinsey report that the value at stake from sustainability concerns can be as high as 70% of earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, or amortization. Unlike traditional form of business risk, social and environmental risks manifest themselves a longer term, very long term. It is not immediate. That's why you don't realize. But as you know, sustainable, continuity, harmony, remember these words. But they affect the business on many dimensions and largely outside the business. And they cannot control. Businesses can't control. COVID, who can control? We are just trying to do damage control right now. Managing risk therefore requires making investment decision today for long run. कल की आज सोचना है, आज पेड़ लगाना है ताकि हमारे बच्चे ठीक से सांस ले पाएं फ्यूचर में. For long-term capacity building and developing adaptive strategies. To address these threats along with supply chain, I would like to quote a couple of companies like Mars, Unilever. I've already said they have invested a lot on this. They have worked on a lot. I would request you to go through it. I mean, why go far? You take example of ITC in India. They have done tremendous work. The way they connect with farmers, the way they have created their training center, it's amazing. Read about them. And next point, fostering innovation. How it foster innovation? It says necessity is mother of invention. So it's not only risk management tool, it also drives innovation. Redesigning product like a Nike. Nike is just an example. There are several companies, they are redesigning their products to meet environmental standard and social needs. 3M, again, one company that's a perfect example. They integrate sustainability innovation pipeline. So there are several examples. So I'll not get into the details, but I'll request you, Nike, you must go through it. And they have created a huge business around this sustainability. I mean, 1 billion plus Flynet line, which uses specialized yawn system, requires minimal labor. So it's not only about money, minimum labor and generating large profit margin. They reduces the waste by 80% compared to regular cut and normal, they cut and prepare that footwear. So there are so many interesting stories. I'll leave it on to you to go through it. My idea here to how I can generate more interest for you on this area, and this financial performance, of course, because you remember profit of that triple bottom line. So many leaders have the wrong perception that one can have profits or sustainability. They think either you can get profit or you can focus on sustainability, but not both. But in addition to the financial benefits that accrue from increased competitive advantage and innovation, as discussed earlier, companies are realizing substantial, significant cost saving through environmental sustainability, and they are improving their operational efficiency. So investors, they are also look for that, and that's a very good sign. Today's investors are very mature. They look for they basically focus on your ESG impact, how they can correlate with better financial performance with better ESG performance. Significant cost reduction can result for improving operational efficiency, which you can understand. How you can better manage the natural resources. Remember your hostel, closing the tap. Very small initiatives, and how we can minimize the waste. So these are the things, and of course, customer loyalty, because these days customers are also aware. People like me, people like you. Now, the more you read about this topic, and more you be more aware on this topic, you'll be concerned. Now you'll be understanding how your jeans which you're wearing comes from, what is the supply chain, what is the impact this jeans manufacturing is creating over environment, how I can contribute, what is the role I can play. So if I know that some brand, like I said, Unilever, if I know that brand is focusing on environment, my loyalty towards that brand will be more. Not to mention, it also attracting and engaging employee. And I'm sorry, I'm speaking too much. I don't know how much time I have. Another few minutes, and I'll close this quickly. But I would like to share a recent example. And I'm also globally responsible for early career. And one of the graduate has left recently, and I was trying to understand what made her to leave the company. And apart from she was getting some good opportunity, that's another story. But interesting part is that she said that my business is, having a lot of focus on oil and gas, almost 40% of our business on oil and gas industries. Though we are supporting those companies with reference to sustainability through our products. But I mean, I'm not questioning on her understanding, but I'm more concerned the kind of views these new joinees are having, these new employees are having. That's a very positive sign. They are worried for environment. They are concerned that what companies are doing to create sustainability, what companies are doing for our mother nature. So that's a very good thing which is happening. So more and more employees are being aware of. More and more candidates wants to work for a company with a good brand. And good brand does not mean only who pays good money, or it's all about sustainability too. So I hope I'm making sense so far. Any comments, anything from your side?
Yes, sir. It's great.
Wonderful. Sounds too good to me. Thanks for encouragement. Now, this slide I have put for you to go through and Google it. So, a very interesting part. It is not only sustainability business. There is a different business line altogether. You can have sustainable. I mean, it's not only sustainability in business. You can also have line of sustainability. It itself become a business. So these are some interesting stories. I'll request you to go through it and Google it, sustainable business ideas, and you will found something very interesting. And trust me, I will talk about it in the next slide, and which is my last segment, which talks about sustainability and you. So good news is businesses are reaping profit of being more sustainable, and there is a huge scope and market for new sustainable business. And this is very important for you to understand. We are still in COVID phase, and apart from miseries we are facing, I mean, you can see my COVID look. I never had beard ever, but I had beard, I shaved it, and this is my season 2 of beard, and I'll shave it again. But nonetheless, this is on a lighter side. And we are, facing a lot of challenges, lockdown, and so much of discomfort. But what is the positive side of this story? You have more time for your family. maybe health also. At least here in Cambridge, we are allowed to go out for exercise earlier also. Even from the first day of lockdown, we were allowed to go out for exercise, walk, running, and everything. And the most important is huge positive change in the environment. Wherever you live, I'm sure each one of you would have experienced there is a change in the air you breathe. The oxygen level would have increased, pollution level would have gone down, and you could have, very easily differentiate the difference. And why I'm taking this example, because that's the most important example. This COVID-19 is making it painfully clear just how interconnected our social, economic, and environmental challenges are. And if you see on your screen, for the first time, remember, for the first time, the global top 5 risks in terms of likelihood are all related to environment. It has never been the case. And that's a very good sign humanity is realizing. Many other studies have focused on a huge impact climate change is having on people. So one of the research from Howard University indicates that people living in more populated regions are being hit more severely by the coronavirus than anyone else. So, I mean, I would also like to, quote one of the interesting quote from Mark Carney, former governor of Bank of England. He said recently that we cannot self-isolate from climate change. We can be saved from corona by self-isolating, but climate change will leave no one. It's real, it's true, it's a real danger. Again, I'm just trying to say that I don't want to, make you scared, but that's the fact. And sooner we'll rise, the best. Again, we are from, we all are from India, and you remember, you have seen this, Sandeep, I don't know what we call this chanachur thing that they sell in donga bolte hain usko, Sandeep, that paper wala jo wo cone bana ke karte hain.
Jhalmuli sir.
Correct. So I think that's a typical example you can see around your neighborhood. That's a typical example of recycling. So focus on scalable business. There are thousands of mochis around your area. They can be used for shoe cycling. So globalizing the local businesses. That's what. I'm sure you are future leaders. You are future leaders. Think about it. Not necessarily everybody will go in personal management and IR. I'm sure some of you will start your own business over a period of time or during any point of time in your life. Think about it. Hydroponics. Plantation is water that vertically may grow. So there are some interesting stories, and trust me, I'll show one more quick video. I don't know if this will play or not. Let me just try. So, can you hear that? Hear that? It is audible. It is audible?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Not audible, sir.
Okay, just read. It is content you can read. So basically, you can go through this. This is on YouTube. There's Sustainability and You. It's again a very interesting video. And I'm already exceeded 1 minute now. But let me just conclude it quickly. So, as you know, that every individual has a role to play to make this planet a better place to live. But we need to realize this as soon as possible. I was trying to highlight. You see things from a context which I've been trying to explain in last 1 hour. We not only have to realize this, we also have to act upon it. You all have big power, very big power, trust me. Being students, not only being a student, but also you are future leaders. Smallest of the action from your side as a student, individual, or future leader can create a huge, big difference together for all of us as human beings, for humanity, and from planet Earth. Never underestimate your power of being an individual. And let's pledge to make difference to our Mother Earth. And that's all about sustainability business. And that's all from my side, Sandeep. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was Nice listening to you after so long, and that too on a very relevant topic.
Yeah, very relevant. Yeah, and very interesting topic, very close to my heart actually.
Even if you see our ancient times,
Yeah.
it was even you can see the villages. Everything was sustainable. Every person was dependent on other person.
Yeah.
So relations were there. So
Mhm.
we need to just go to our roots in our
Mm.
ancient times, how we used to
Yeah.
live in our
Yeah.
families,
Exactly. You said it.
our villages.
Yeah.
And villages were sustainable also.
Very sustainable. Very, very sustainable.
So we will have some informal discussion also. But before that, I would like to Sneha, are you there? Sneha Baranwal?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just propose vote of thanks. Then we'll go for the informal.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. Good evening to all. I, Sneha Bernwal, on behalf of MPMII family and the other members present today, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest speaker, Basant Tripathi, sir, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had the opportunity to hear your thoughts, sir, on business sustainability, and this will be going to encourage us in our future events. Your thoughts
Absolutely.
have enlightened our minds and will show us a new path. Thank you for this session, sir.
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you so much. Many thanks. Thanks for listening me patiently. I mean, I hope if I inspire or encourage even one of you, my effort will be all. I mean, it will pay me back.
So